Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be taking you on a little tour and an instructional video on how to fly planes in a world called Test Pilots on VRChat, a game or virtual reality experience that you may or may not know will be very frequented. If you're here already, then hello. If you haven't used VRChat yet, then come on down and have some fun. And for those of you who are on here and have not experienced test pilots before, then I suggest you come on in and have some fun. Blow up a bit, but then you'll enjoy it. Anyway, before I, go off on a different track. Are you with me yet? Good. Ignore the helicopter over in the mirror, because you can't touch that unless you're a patron of the creator of the world, in which case, if you can get your hands on tasty stuff before everyone else does. Back to the task in hand. I'm going to lead you around, show you the basics of the planes, take you a few rides on the helicopters and a few bigger vehicles, and then, hopefully this will be a good instructional video for if you want to come on and have a go without crashing and blowing up, for the first several hours and getting bored of it. So here we go. This is the first plane, the one that is the most commonly used, simply because it doesn't blow up or crash and is, well, not as much as anything else anyway, and is relatively easy to fly in comparison to everything else. Got it, reach, there we go. So, when you're in the plane, you have the canopy, usually getting it open, but I've previously blown this plane up, which is why it comes with it getting down. So you shut the canopy. A new feature of those who haven't been on in a while is now you have an open intercom system, so you can talk to the people in the planes. You have engine start, cruise, canopy, auto, brake, catapult, flare, and flight limits. For those of you just starting, I recommend you leave the flight limits and the flaps on. It does mean you can't maneuver as well, but it also means you blow up a lot less. Now, I have index controllers, which is why I've got really fingers. But for those of you on Quest or any WMR that have more standard controllers, I believe you use the bottom trigger finger instead of the top. You don't want to use the top one, otherwise you'll blow things up. Although you can do that as well. So get the trigger and ease it forward and turn it round. Again, if you're on Quest, I don't know if you have to use the wiggle stick. I don't think you do. So accelerate to speed, make sure you line up first. I just keep doing it several times to make sure I'm going fast enough, because trust me, in the bigger ones you do not want to all drop and just drop to the floor. Pick the gear up, which again is the bottom controller, trigger, and away we go. And that's all there is to it. So this hand doesn't really do much else once you're in the air. Mine's slowing you down and speeding you up, and some other things. But this one is where it's at. So just ease back a bit slightly for up in the air. Push forward to go down, right to go right, left to go right, left, up. But anyway, you get the general gist. As you can hear the beeping and the buzzing, that is a sign to say, don't turn so fast, you're going to rip the wings off. But if you take off the flight limits, not only can you go a little bit sharper, but you can also go a bit faster. But if you're not used to it again, I wouldn't recommend it, because you will blow up, and then you'll fly with that plane. Not so much a problem now, because they've re-altered it, so you can just respawn back to the start. Before that was a bit of a pain, you had to make it to stop. Any of those of you who have motion sickness may or may not want to fly upside down like that. It does take a bit getting used to, but it's a lot of fun when you do. And if you're extra challenging, you want to try not to get through somewhere that's blowing up, you can go through here too. And see, even I didn't make that, and I get plastered into the wall and bounced off like a So, there's your first experience, and I'm going to go in the water. Shall I drown? No, let's just go boop, and back to the start. So, kaboom. So there you have it. That is lesson 1. Don't get too carried away. Don't get too confident. Don't impact on a wall. Now we'll leave that playing because I think you've had a bit of an experience, and we'll move on to helicopters. Where's the wheel on that one? So, this is the helicopter. Now a lot of people can't handle these, but they're easy enough. They're actually easier than airplanes sometimes. You just have to be a little bit more delicate on the controls, as I'll just, so you know. Canopy up, so you can see what I'm saying. This one, instead of pushing forward, let the trigger and up. And here we go, here we go. And the speed to take off. You can just let go and you've got that speed running. And this one, very, very delicately turn. And on throttle. Very delicately. Look, little touchy. And you know too much and you're going to get carried away. And then what gets you isn't the fact you've overdone it, it's the overcompensation. When you try and straighten out and then you go, no, I'm going to crash, no! And you know how to handle it, and you can always pull yourself out of a spin. And away you go. It's that simple. Well, if you crash a few dozen times beforehand, don't worry about it, because it took me a long time. Now, just remember, keep it steady, titchy touch, and always keep it flat. Keep the angle down slightly, and just gently turn. Although if you're in a dogfight or something, then I suggest maybe a few more microns of speed on reaction. But it'll be a while before you want to do that. The trick with this one, along with every other vehicle on here, isn't the taking off. It isn't even the flying. It is, however, the landing without blowing up. Something that I haven't mastered yet. And when I do, admittedly, probably more luck than judgment. Oops, all that happens. Well, I'm down, and I haven't gone up again. So, we made it. We're in one piece. It's smoking, but it's alive. Another little trick with this one is you can fly to your own degree to somewhat. Right, now we'll leave those ones for another time. One more for this one. Then we have this little beastie. A bit pants, a bit slow, but if the other ones are a bit too quick for you, and you just want to get used to flying in the air, and this is the one to start off with. Turn it around, and away we go. You'll know when you're fast enough because you can pull backwards and it'll take off. Or if you want to sort of take the short way, get yourself some speed by falling off, and then you're away. Again, this might be the most simplistic, but it is by far and away not the easiest to fly because you don't have enough speed to maneuver. But if you want a little ride around and just explore where everything isn't blurring past your face, then this might be useful. Just don't try and do any barrel rolls or extreme manoeuvres because you will not make it out of the way in time. And then you'll just watch the world go by as you sail through the air. I'm going to try and land this one before I walk back, because even if I admit it myself, I don't want to try going all the way back there to land. Let's see if I can. Here, I'm not going to go the way airstrip. I'll just roll it down. Thankfully, your wheels don't come up, so you can just hold up. Well, I sort of wanted to stall, but well, we're on the ground, so on to the next one. Right. Now there's this one. At least for this one, I can show you a different way of taking off. A bit more visible on the views. Canopy down as always. Again, I would suggest leaving the flight limits on yourselves. Accelerate. And now we're going to take off on the ramp, which helps launch us, catapult us into the air, so you don't need as much runway. Perhaps gear up. There we go. This one is a little bit quicker than the last one. Well, actually, it's a lot quicker than the last one, but it's a little more quicker than the first one going. Maneuverability as well. But with speed comes great responsibility. As you can tell, all the aeroplanes are slightly different. Since it's been updated, there are more variables and difference, which is always a good thing. Let's see if I can make it through the buildings without blowing up. Ignore the noises. I'm trying to. And we're through. Our places dotted around the map. We can land if you're pro expert. I'm not even going to try and attempt it because I am not. Over the bridge. Under the bridge. There you go. Right, let's see if I can land it. It'll be a miracle if I do, but let's just say I'm not going to land this. I'm going to crash, but we'll make the attempt at looking like I'm attempting it. Well, I made it to the landing strip. Oh, half a point. That deserves half a point. Now we move on to the big beasties. Oof. Passenger, pilot, no, passenger, I got range. So this is where you cheat and be thankful you can fly. And you sort of got to gauge where, there we go, now I'm in. Right, now you have two options on this one. This is where you come to the one of the two planes that has VTOL. For those who don't know, that stands for vertical takeoff and landing, which means you can take off on a runway forward, or you can adjust yourself to fly straight up. So, as I have explained, when in flight when you want to take off, forward, down, thrust, and away you go. But for this one, it is a little different. What you do, well, let's just leave it till the last one, shall we? So again, we take off. It's a slow and cumbersome beast, but it does make for some majesty in the air. Minutes off, because you will need to steer this. Just don't try flying through the city. You won't get very far. And you will, only after you get ejected from the plane. And this one, some interesting toys. I don't think I'm gonna make it. No, 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 no. And yeah. So you have to make sure whatever you try and do, remember that it's a big old plane. Right, to go to the last one, I won't do the jumpy flights. I'll show you this little, didgeridoo, which is a bit of fun in itself. I can never see that far, but on the bottom right, if you look, the wings come out, and that's why you need to fly. You don't necessarily need to be on a hovering, because there's nothing more fun hovering around and blowing everything up. So you don't need wings for that. That didn't work, but should you want to use it for flight, make sure wings are out. Otherwise, he won't. He will just drop. Well, the only thing you must remember is that the fuel does not last very long in this. As you can tell, full flight means I'm going to run out before I even get anywhere. So it's nothing more than a local taxi. The biggest trick of this, which is really secret itself, is see if I can land before I run out. Because it's a hover one, you don't blow up as much when you land. And you can float. So, well, you can float as long as you're in it, I think. And we move on to the last one, which is a seaplane. Now this one absolutely did my head in for ages and ages and ages and ages and ages and ages. Because not only can it take a devil of a time to get in the seaplane, as shown in evidence by myself, and then you get confused and you go all over the place, and to be honest you want to just give up, but we persevere. I'm close enough, it's just a pain in the backside. You have to in the pilot's hook. I had it then. I had it. Nearly. Hopefully you'll stay for the end of the video to see me actually get into the right seat. And we're in! Now, canopy down. Flight limits off. This one, you do not attempt to take off forward because you will blow up every time you hit the end. There is a trick to this. Now, what you do is you get the trigger button, Not the fire one, but the trigger one. And instead of pushing forward, you put your hand forward, grip the trigger button, and pull back. Like so. And see that needle there? That alters thrusters from going forward to 45 degrees to 90, which means they're pointing straight down. Then you apply the thrust. So forward, and we're up. And it's really that simple to take off. Now, the trigger finger goes back on trigger until you adjust the needle like that. And then slowly adjust it. Because you need to have momentum moving forward before you release. Otherwise, you'll crash. Because this, although it's not the biggest, definitely is a bit of a wallower. And there's a few other darts you can play around with while you're in here. But that's how you take off in this as well. And the good thing about this being a seaplane, you can indeed land on the rivers and the sea. Try and make our way back. Now I will attempt to put this back on the VTOL. I highly doubt I'm going to survive this, but I will at least attempt it. Or not. And the last one, which I will quickly squeeze in, is the space shuttle. And for those of you who haven't been on here in a while, this is a new vehicle and has garnered quite a lot of frustration for people. And I shall show you why. Because you can't just let them release. There's the handle, and that is the one handle. This one steers us goalways, but for thrust, up we come. So now you've got a stick, and you have to basically keep your hand there. So up we come, whichever direction you hold it. You see I'm pulling backwards, so I'm going backwards. Push it forwards, I'm going forwards. Eventually. You take it off, and you'll rapidly freefall. And unfortunately, there's no way we can move into space. So, on a flight, it can be flown. And for maybe 10 minutes, you'll have some fun. After that, you'll probably go back to one of the others. But don't take my word for it. Even as side thruster, so it is indeed fun. Just frustrating. Here, so you can survive, you can fly. But it takes, out of all of them, it probably takes the most getting used to. Get down, try to land this. Oop. Up, and, oh, no, 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 no. Well, let's see how long I can roll before I blow up, shall we? That's what, 3, 4 somersaults, 5. 6. If I get down to the bottom of this hill, it will be a miracle. Well, I do have to make... Ah, there we go. I thought I was going to make it all the way. It was a filled way, but considering how far I've gone, that survived pretty good. Righty hoodies. So, you know, I've managed to land, once. I made it to the runway once, so does that count as twice? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I hope this has been an instructional video and you've enjoyed watching it. Until next time, maybe I'll see you on you. If I don't, have fun, have a great day. Until next time, bye-bye.